This is Nancy Farmer's The Lord of Opium, a sequel toward her most acclaimed book, which also has 3 medals, The House of the Scorpion. Now, let's start this off. This is her plot summary. The Lord of Opium is set a few hours after the end of the House of the Scorpion. There was this oasis that Tam Lin showed Matt, and Matt is just sitting there chilling with senators, reading notes that Tam Lin, gave him right before he had to leave, or right before he had to be abandoned. Matt decided to go back home and had very mixed feelings about this, mainly because Celia, his caretaker, would not call him Mi Vida anymore and had to give him a little title, whatever that title will be. We later find out the title as a BTW. Matt, I should mention, is now the Lord of Opium. Ever since El Patron died, he also took away all of the other guests, all the other Alacrans inside the family, which would mean that Matt is the only sole living Alacran and is conveniently El Patron's clone. He's basically El Patron reborn. El Patron said that he would have 9 lives. He's the cat with 9 lives. He had 8 clones and had their transplants. However, when the 9th clone came around, that's Matt. By the way, we finally find out that Matt was poisoned with arsenic by Celia. He didn't die, mainly because Celia gave him small amounts. It wasn't enough to kill him, but it would be enough to kill El Patron if his heart was replaced with the arsenic one. In his new position, Matt decided that he would take down the Opium Empire. How would he do it? He had the backing of Esperanza, his girlfriend, Maria's mother, as well as the support of both the United States government, USA, and the Mexican government, now called Aslan. How would he take down the Empire, though? It was a too complicated piece. If he just took out the Empire as once, lots of people would lose their jobs and they'd be scouting for missionaries or elsewhere. There's not much you can do here inside the Lord of Opium's territory. There is one thing you can do, though. Matt finally decided that there was a lot to think about, and he went ahead and thought long and hard about it. After several weeks, he finally realized that to take down the Empire and to free the slaves, he needs to find a power source. He has a bunch of friends from the Plankton Factory that would help him with that, and one of them shows him a music box, and he says that this microchip is like the music box, but without an external power source, it's useless to him. What do? They make a common writing system or use one that they both know. Lords of Opium will never pretty much use new tools. They would probably use illegal crossings, and primitive little weapons. When you want to take down the Empire, you have to take down the slaves. And where would you get the slaves? Well, mainly they are probably in the Red Room. Even our little cyborg friend here doesn't know. It's probably in the Red Room. Why not? Why is it probably one of the rarest ones? Mainly because it is extremely freaking powerful, and the Lord of Opium does not want anyone else to know how to cause it. In the end, we get this really, really far into the conversation, and there's not much more I can really show about the arc anyway. In the end, Nancy Farmer went ahead and wrote the Lord of Opium to destroy all of these things. Now that the heir, he's the sole surviving heir, including some uncles and aunties who almost assassinates him, he became the new king of opium with the backing of several people. And with the backing of these several people, there is so much more that can be done. In the end, Nancy Farmer shows us the Lord of Opium's way. We find out that the Scorpion Star, for some reason, El Patron spent half of his fortune on buying the Scorpion Star, habitable space biosphere, went ahead and is powering all these microchips. Matt all has to do is shut down the spaceship, and all these microchips will fall apart. The spaceship doesn't fall apart immediately. In fact, it just splits off into its own little bones before settling back down onto Earth. Nancy Farmer herself made sure that this was true, and no more illegals would be crossing the border herself. He finally realized that one person having too much power is very tempting, and there is nothing he can do about it. He has to keep it in checks and systems, otherwise he would also dare, public as well as private funding. In the end, though, Nancy Farmer wrote a really good killer ending towards the Lord of Opium. And that's all I can say about this too. Really hope they make a movie about this. I'll see you guys soon in the next episode. I hope to see you guys soon. Until then, ciao, peace, bye bye.